we are so glad to be in this place. We've had an opportunity, we've promised you for a very long time to come and check on your farm.
Good.
We've been here since morning, since 9 a.m. and we've had just a little snip into the farm. We've gone around, but this is an interesting project we have at heart. And currently what we are looking at is beekeeping, what he does. It's one of the many things he does as a farmer. And my interest is in understanding bees well. I've read about this, but that is as much as we know. So Mr. Paul, meanwhile, our client is Mr. Paul Ddiba. He's a member of AGRITRADE and he has his own company. So for us, doing a farm visit is one of the benefits they get as members. And in doing that, we put this information out there for more promotion for what he does. So what we have here is beekeeping at large. And Mr. Paul, we just want a little bit of explanation on this entire enterprise.
Yeah, thank you so much, Peace. I'm happy that you are here. Of course, I've been waiting for you for quite a long time so that you could come and visit me and see what I'm doing. And as you can see over there, we have those bees. But I started with those hives you can see over there with mud. That's where I started from. Even you can see along there, those are the old ones. So from there, now I've actually developed some mines so that I can put up these ones, which are actually, I think, very much more better than the first one. I've been actually taking care of these bees for quite some time, but of course, you know, slowly by slowly, in bits. This is the river where I've reached, and as you can see there, we have over 30 beehives, but of course, we'll continue because we have the forest, as you can see. It's very supportive for the bees with the flowers. Next, we have the coffee. Of course, it's also very supportive. And I think we are quite doing well so far.
Mr. Paul, what are we seeing in that video up there?
That is the beehive I'm putting over there because that's how I normally actually get those bees. You put it on the tree whereby, you know, that tree is flowering and the bees are moving around. Then, of course, they see a very good house and then they go in. But this is where I was saying that the pine is very good because that tree pine is, the timber is very good because it attracts, it has that smell, the aroma for the bees. So it's so easy for them to join. Yes, I'm attracting the bees.
More bees.
Yes.
So after here, what
happens? And after here, when I get them, then I take them to the other house where you see.
So this is where you start, then transfer to the other side. That is how you grow more hives.
Yes.
Wow.
And of course, when I take the beehives the other side, it's very comfortable because the bees normally don't want rain. They don't like where there's rain. So when I take them from here, then they are used to the other house. There's no rain over there. It's a little bit warmer. And then, yeah.
Wow.
So that's how we do it.
This is very nice. So this is a transfer we are collecting. Yeah. Now this is one extra hive on the 30, so we have 31 added on the other.
Yeah. Also to the bees, as you can see, entering their houses, landing, you can see the steps are there. So it's very good, it's supportive to them because the bees normally move for quite a long distance to get, you know, the water and so on to bring the queen here. So it's quite a little bit heavy when it's reaching there. So it needs that supportive step so that at least it can move in there as it comes in. So, yeah.
So now originally, you said we have the wood, which is modern, more of modernity from the other one. But in our earlier conversation, you made a mention and said that this wood is actually pine.
Yeah. Why
pine? Why not any other tree but pine?
Well, pine is quite interesting for the bees actually because it has that smell. So it attracts the bees to come in there because when you make this hive, the house, put it somewhere in a tree somewhere, it has that, you know,
the aroma that it is looking for from the tree.
Yes.
Wow.
So at least, of course, the bees will come in and then they stay in there. Then they find that it's quite comfortable for them.
So why do we have white substances along the poles that are holding the structure?
Yes, maybe this is one of the challenges I've been facing right now with the bees, because we have, you see, this is a big natural forest.
Yes.
And we don't want to put this forest down actually within the Kawumu here. It actually, it does a lot for the environment, for the nature. You know, it's the only natural forest we have around here. Yes. It has everything. But there are some insects which are actually very delicate and they always attack the bees within the forest here. But normally they move down on the ground and then they climb on these poles we have here. So what we have there is something that can stop these insects from, attacking the bees. Because when they attack the bees, they actually brown like an ant, and then it can disorganize the whole
ecosystem.
Yes. Okay. So we try to put that so that we could stop all those that could come close to the bee, because those insects I'm talking about that attack the bee, they are very dangerous, and they just come in. So
I'm amazed at the ecosystem. We have a forest which is almost more than an acre of a forest. It's quite a big forest we've gone through. Yeah. And you've put the bee setup within the forest. But then on the other side, we have the coffee. Yeah. And also we have the pineapples on another side. Yeah. So the entire ecosystem is quite an interesting thing, the way you've set it up. Yeah. It looks like your bees have sufficient water. They have the flowers where to pick what is needed for pollination, and all. The whole ecosystem is supporting each other. Yeah. So how long have you kept the bees since you started the venture? Bees alone, how long has it been?
Well, it's coming to 1 year now.
It's coming to 1 year.
Yeah, but of course 1 year I'm talking about doing something which is really modern, you can say. But of course, slowly by slowly I've been trying to develop something, you know, just like that.
If
but of
all
course,
goes well,
yeah.
How much honey do we see out of these about 30 hives? Yeah. How much could we get out of this only if all goes well? Let's say 6 months have gone by and we are going to harvest. How much would we get out of this?
I think in 6 months we'll get something like around one hive.
Yes, can give
we can get 15 liters out of it.
Wow.
That's what I can say, 15 liters.
Approximately 15. So you multiply that by 30.
Yes.
That is how much we have in 6 months. How often do you harvest? Every
6 months? Every 6 months, actually.
So twice a year?
Yeah, twice a year.
Okay.
That's what we do.
And when the harvest is on, how long does it take, harvesting?
Well, it doesn't take a long time. It depends
about a month, you're still in the harvest?
Yeah, just a month. It depends to the labor, people whom we are using, because you cannot do all this alone, but I have some people who do some work, so I always get 4 people who are always close here trying to monitor, because this is a project we want to bring up so that at least we can do a lot. We are actually planning a little bit ahead so that we could also take our honey to Europe, as you can see, because recently we went to Turkey and we saw there about 800 types of honey. So we are thinking that at least we'll be actually exporting this honey, and that's what we are looking at. Wow. And that's why we want to keep the forest around. Actually, the forest is over 7 acres, and it's a natural forest we are talking about. And this forest is actually very interesting because it has a lot of history that we can talk about some time to come in Kawumu here. But it helps us to bring the rain. The vegetation is okay. You can see the green all over. And actually, I'm next to the swampy area whereby there is water for the bees. So they don't move a long distance to get the water to bring it here.
Bring it back.
So it all works out for us, actually. And also, we can talk about the tourism part of it. We have calabash monkeys around here. It's not easy to find them within these areas of Luwero, but we have calabash monkey, that's black and white, and they're doing quite well. We also have other different types of monkey, but the calabash are very much okay. They don't eat maize, potato, but they're just living on natural forest.
Oh, so they don't attack any of the farms?
They don't eat the beans or whatsoever. They are so good, and fortunately right now you can't see them because it's a little bit hotter. Yeah. But if you want to see them, it's mostly from 8 o'clock to 10. That's when you can see them. Then also in the evening around from 5 to 6. Okay. So actually it's It's quite interesting. So when we get people like you, when you come here, we take you around. As you can see, we are walking around the forest, and we have a lot of tourism things that you can see. The birds, they're quite
birds
many.
Quite
we have
many.
the snakes are also around. We have a lot of things. It's just a matter of moving around and see exactly what you want to see. But it's quite interesting for us, and we like it here. And
thank you, Paul, so very much. This has been an interesting stopover. We are still continuing with our journey around Paul's farm. Surely you can't come to Paul's farm and think you're going to be here for just 30 minutes or an hour or 3 hours. The truth is that it's a whole day's project, and this is one of the many videos that we can get from the entire setup that is here at Kawumu. Thank you so very much, Paul.
Thank you.
And we are glad that you're a member of us and you add value to AgriTrade. It's the reason why the organization actually exists.
Thank you so much, Peace. I'm also very much happy so that you've come here to see what we are doing, because a lot of people normally talk about farming, doing all this when they don't have something in the ground. But of course, we are so honored to have you around. You've seen what we do. We like it so much. When you look at how AgriTrade is doing, the work is very good, because you're looking for market for us. It's very, very important, because market is something that we need, so that we also get partners, that we can do our business very well, because it should have been maybe the government to help us do something like that, but normally sometimes takes long for the government to come up. But I'm happy that you are here. So I'm sure there are a lot of people who are doing something like this, and they need your advice, your help. You don't give them money, but the advice, the ideas you give them at least will help. But thank you so much.
Thank you once again. It's been AgriTrade on ground, doing one of the many things you get as benefits of being a member with AgriTrade. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back from Kawumu, where we had an opportunity to visit Paul Ddiba, one of our members at AgriTrade. We had an opportunity earlier scheduled to visit Kawumu. It's been pending for some time until we were able to go through with the program. So it was indeed an honor to visit Kawumu farm. And at the farm, we were able to see a number of ventures, where my biggest interest was in the beekeeping program that he has on his farm. So while at the farm, we were taken through a program where we've seen Paul Ddiba do farming, particularly beekeeping, from a local version to a modern version. It was interesting to learn, to get insights into the real activity that takes place on the farm. Here we saw Ddiba transforming from the local kind of hives that are made of mud and rattle into the new version, which is made out of wood and particularly pine. He explained to us the details of it and why pine in particular. He says, according to what has been found out scientifically, the pine has a certain aroma, I could call it a scent, that it comes off from the wood and is very beneficial in attracting these bees into the hive itself. So we also saw how he does, he gets his hives filled with more bees. Remember he showed us a forest which is about 5 to 10 acres, something like that. Within the forest, he has been able to put up more hives. They are like catchment points for more bees. So on ground, he has about more than 30, but then he has other catchment points which are within the trees. They are put and hung up on the trees for purposes of getting more bees in, and then at a certain stage, they are transferred to the main bigger area, which is more of the actual farm. We also got to an understanding of what attacks these bees. He particularly pointed out insects that attack the structure. They are in form of, you would call them, they're like termites, But then if they enter into the ecosystem, the bee ecosystem, they destroy everything. But he has got a way of dealing with that. But then the most interesting part about the farm was the entire ecosystem, because within his farm, he does beekeeping. He also has a forest, a very big forest, and it's not an artificial forest, it's a natural forest. He also does pineapple growing. He also does coffee. He also, among other things, then purples. So of course we know the bee and the connection of the bee and the flowers. So basically there is a complete ecosystem for him. It was an interesting journey. It was a learning opportunity for us. And why do we actually do the farm visits? Remember, as AgriTrade, we've got to look out for traceability, sustainability, among other things. So assuming we've got a client who is interested in Paul's honey from his farm, we should be able to assure him that he will have constant supply. But we can not only say that verbally without reaching ground to see, to ascertain that this information that we are giving away is true to that. So we had to be sure of that, and that certainty can only be availed if the team at AgriTrade has been able to do a farm visit and see firsthand what happens on the farm. So it's very important for purposes of traceability. It's very important for sustainability. It's also very important to be sure of the kind of chemicals, let's say pesticides, that he's using on his farm, so that we can defend them. Remember, as a company, we envision saying Uganda's produce becoming a global choice. We can only be able to achieve that by putting certain things in place. And that is one of the things we do by going down to the ground and seeing this information and presenting it to you firsthand. I hope the video that follows will be of great help in helping you understand one of a kind, and probably when we come across any other, we shall be glad to share information. That is if we have more beekeepers amidst our members. Thank you very much.